Brett, how do you feel? How does number 15 make you feel?
It feels great. Whatever happened to the Los Angeles dynasty? You guys were talking about a dynasty. Here's where it is, right here. That's the dynasty. We're the best team in the world right now. The best. There they are out there.
Man, I'm so hyped right now. Anything's possible. Anything's possible!
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to this edition here of Show Blitz with yours truly, Charles Prize or Richie. And we're getting ready to change it up right now. As you may be familiar with me, I'm the host of usually the Man of Steel podcast. But I'll do a different spin on it tonight as we get ready to transition to other sports. The NBA Finals going on right now, which would be the 78th edition in the NBA's history right now. It'll be featuring the Boston Celtics, who go into this series right now as the number one seed versus the 6th seed Mavs. Celtics will be looking to break a tie with the LA Lakers for the most championships all time as a franchise. They are currently tied at 17 apiece. Celtics are looking to have like their 18th title. And we look at the Celtics history, particularly NBA Finals, definitely one of the elite teams right there. When you look at it right here, the Celtics so far in their franchise history have gone 17-5 all time. But usually when it goes to game sevens in their franchise history, they only lost one time. It was back to the Los Angeles Lakers in 2010 in Los Angeles. They have a record of 7-1 should this series go to a game 7. The Mavericks, in the meanwhile, are making their third finals appearance in their franchise history, as they will be looking to try and get a game above 500. It's their first NBA Finals appearance since 2011, which, by the way, was a victory over the Heat when they lost their first Finals appearance to the Miami Heat back in 2006. And look at it right there. Each of those series, 6 games right now, but now you got Luka Doncic right now, who enters this season right now. You look at a guy who's been like a EuroLeague champion back in 2018, as well as their league MVP, and made their all-decade team. Coming from Real Madrid, who played 4 seasons over there for 2015 for 2018. And right now, you look at right now where the Mavericks are having the combination of him, Luka, and Kyrie right now. Kyrie Irving, by the way, who are in their second season in the GAR, dating back all the way when Kyrie was acquired by the Mavericks prior to the trade deadline, around the trade deadline period back in 2023. During that season. Now, they would go on to miss the playoffs that year after the Mavericks, to their credit, who's been in the conference finals 2 years ago, having to lose to the Golden State Warriors, who will go on to win their 7th NBA championship, their 4th in 8 seasons right there. Now, as we look at it right now, it's going to be an interesting finals right now. Celtics definitely seem to be heavily favorites going into this matchup, as they'll be looking to right a lot of wrongs here, as you may think as we look at here. I mean, you look at both the head coaches for this contest here. I mean, for the Boston Celtics right now, who is in his 3rd season, Joe Mazzulla right there, who actually, as a matter of fact, took over for their previous coach, back, who was last with them in 2022, took them to the finals. Ime Udoka, right there, who got let go due to some reasons with trouble, harassment in the front office of the Celtics organization. But anyway, by the way, that was Ime's lone season with the Celtics right there. Ime right now, who's actually currently the head coach of the Houston Rockets. But you look at like the Boston Celtics under Joe Mazzulla right there. A lot of people were definitely calling the question right there. How badly did they miss Ime? Now remember, Brad Stevens, who has been their longest running consistent coach with the team, beginning in 2013, he had an 8-year run. But Brad Stevens right now, who's actually moved up to the front office right now, who's been running the team as we look at it right now, he definitely putting a well good team together. Celtics, I mean, a lot of people will look at this team all the time when you look at their history. I mean, when they won basically a lot of their championships, a lot of people argue there was less parity in the league, especially their first 11 championships in a 13-year run where they won 11 out of 12 NBA finals, with their only loss being their second season, uh, going for their first repeat back in 1958, which, by the way, was the team they beat for their first ever championship, the then St. Louis Hawks. I mean, you look at it right there. I mean, they won 11 of their 17 titles when it was lesser teams in the leagues right there. But like I said, if you really want to be technical about it, I mean, you look at who they lost to. They only lost to the Hawks. I mean, and also too, I mean, when you really want to like technically argue about it, I mean, they beat the Lakers seven times in a row, 6 times as an LA franchise, and their last is the Minneapolis Lakers franchise before they moved over to the city of Los Angeles back in the 1960s, which, by the way, was the original dynasty of the NBA, becoming the first ever team to three-peat uh, in, in the league's history from 1952 from 1954. You look at it all the time right there. I mean, the Celtics, they took care of business right there. I mean, during that time period, can't help but think of Bill Russell versus Wilt Chamberlain right there. Uh, both icons right there. I mean, Bill Russell's definitely owned Chamberlain in the majority of those championship rounds right there. Wilt Chamberlain only got the best of Bill Russell one time. That was in a conference final back in 1967 with the Philadelphia 76ers, by the way, in 1967, where they got dispatched, and I believe in about 5 games, gentleman sweep. That'd be Wilt Chamberlain's first championship, but then they would lose, of course, like the next season, 1968, to the Celtics. I mean, a lot of times right there. But I mean, the Celtics were their most, I mean, their credit right there. Like I said, 17-5 all time in the NBA Finals right there. They know what it's like to be hanging banners for the history of their franchise at the end of the day, no matter what you say, how you slice it right there. They had a great, diverse culture within the organization. Now, the city of Boston is another story, a lot of tumultuous times with the fans and the media. But I mean, at the end of the day, here we are right now. Celtics look like they're going to be rearing their head once again for another banner, potentially looking to break a tie with the Mavericks right now. As we look at it right now for the NBA Finals right now, we take a look at like OddsShark right now, who's currently looking at it for the first game opener. Boston Celtics is favored to be by six opening odds at -6 right now, and I can't blame him for that reason. But then again, you also swing right now too. Let's take a look at some of these matchups right here. As far as the athletic goes, as far as from Sham Charania, reports that Boston Celtics center Kristaps Porzingis, he is expected to return for Game 1 in this series versus the Mavs, barring a setback. League sources said Tuesday Porzingis completed multiple scrimmages in recent days, since according to those sources. Now, Porzingis, who was primarily a New York Knick most of his career, he suffered a right calf strain in Game 4 versus Heat in the final round, which was sustained as a non-contact injury right there. As we look at it, I mean, the Celtics right now, for the meanwhile, it's going to definitely be very interesting right now because Celtics, I mean, they pretty much got like 2 centers arguably in the series right now. Al Horford, who's been picking up a bulk bulk of the slack right there since he's been out. And as long as he isn't on a minutes restriction, he and Horford, excuse me, should be able to split the playing time at center. In this series, Porzingis' presence should be significant. Going into this versus Mavs rim protection, Celtics should now be able to have a floor spacing center on the court at all times. Boston likes to match up Porzingis with one of the opponent's worst shooting perimeter players he's spent on either Derrick Jones Jr. or PJ Washington in this series, giving them room to help out on Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. And Celtics right now, they're considering Porzingis a playoff key for them all along. But right now, it's definitely going to be a whale of a series, let me tell you. And you got guys right now, Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. Right now, this dynamic duel, trying to pair together right now. But as far as let's go a little bit more into the Celtics. So far, their road to get here to the NBA Finals, this will be their second appearance in 3 years right now. Where they lost to the Golden State Warriors at home at the TD Garden in 6 games. Like I said, the Warriors will wrap up their 4th title in 8 years for their dynasty. The Celtics in this playoff right now, after almost nearly becoming the first team in NBA history to overcome a 3-game-to-none series deficit, would fall fatally in Game 7 a year ago to the Miami Heat, who would fall to the Nuggets. In this year's playoffs, the Celtics, just to wrap it up, they right now, they've took care of the Heat and the Cavs so far in this tournament, and then they swept the Indiana Pacers, who were without star Tyrese Halliburton for part of the series in 4 games to reach the NBA Finals. Power forward Jason Tatum and small forward Jaylen Brown have been together for 7 seasons and are hoping to knock down the door to earn their first ring together. They made the playoffs 10 straight seasons while winning 2 of 6 Eastern Conference Finals. This has definitely been a significant window. You look at the Boston Celtics team, for example, right now. This team has got a team constructed to possibly, arguably, not only get this championship, but can he get a few more down the road where they could build for the future? Only time will tell. This is a team right there who's been consistent, making 10 straight playoff appearances, which is very darn impressive. To their credit. But this is a team right now who's just always seems know what it's like to play playoff basketball, yellow championship basketball when it matters. And this team right now, you think about the history of this franchise. As far as the leprechaun right there, or their 4-leaf clover, whatever it may be. When you speak of John Havlicek's steal back, I believe it was in 65. Anyway, but you look at the Celtics team right now, they're on a mission right now to really prove to capitalize and reward this talent and following great teams the Celtics pass right now. Because you look at it right there too, especially in their first when you look at their first 20 seasons, their run, they won 13 championships in 20 seasons right there. The Boston Celtics did. Heavily constructed by head coach Red Auerbach, who also became an executive with the team. Think about the Boston Celtics in that time period right there. In 20 years, like I said, they won 13 championships, which also had 14 conference finals appearances. Again, with that only loss being to the St. Louis Hawks, excuse me. But anyway, when you look at it right there too, during that time, all of those first 13 championships that they won 2 Game 7s on the road back in 1969, where they owned Jerry West and the Lakers. They thought they would get over the hump versus Celtics when they acquired Wilt Chamberlain back in that year. But then, you go 5 years later, after the retirement of Bill Russell, you look at it right there. John Havlicek and the Celtics, they would find a way to win 2 in 3 years right there later on, being the Milwaukee Bucks in 7 games, and then they will win their 13th versus the Phoenix Suns in 6. And both clinched on the road, by the way. Now, the Celtics in their franchise history, they lost their only home game in the closeout series was back in 1985, which, by the way, was happened to be when the Lakers were finally able to get over the hump versus Celtics after losing their first 8 in a row. Celtics right now, who's just has nothing but like a ghost, as you can imagine, but demons forever. Any team, especially they intimidated the Lakers a lot. I mean, you can definitely say the 76ers a lot, who they had classic rivalries. But right now, you think about right now, is it finally time for the city of Boston to become city of champions once again right now? You got a lot of things going uh for for them right now. I mean, this is a town right now. We look at their sports history. It's been primarily a hockey town for most of it, but yet the crazy thing is, a lot of their championship success has been with the Celtics. I mean, followed by you would say like the Red Sox and the Bruins. I mean, either or you could go with. And of course, the Patriots more recently too. It's also got like 6 Super Bowls. I mean, basically in an 18-year span. I mean, 2 different dynasties in 2 separate decades. But anyway, let's take a look at we spin it over to the Mavs right now. The Mavs, how their road to get here to the NBA Finals, they dispatched the Clippers and Thunder in 6 games apiece, and then completed a gentleman's sweep of the Wolves back in the conference finals right there. And you look at like right there, Ant-Man too of the Minnesota Timberwolves, who actually tried pretty much proclaiming a guarantee that they would have a series coming back to Minnesota, which did not happen. Well, anyway, Kyrie Irving right now, as I mentioned, who was traded to the Celtics back in 2017. You have to flashback 7 years ago when he was paired up with LeBron James when they won their first and only championship together back in 2016. They've been to 4 straight finals in a row. Kyrie Irving, who made his proclamation after losing in 5 games to the Warriors, a year of failing to defend their title together, he made it clear on the record when he went to the Celtics, when he got traded there, he wanted to be the star pretty much of his own team. Uh, you look at the timeline, what Kyrie Irving went through. He injured his left knee in his first season and was ruled out for the playoffs, which the Celtics would lose in 7 games to the Cavs right there. You would see LeBron James, who had a run of going to 8 straight NBA finals, which was pretty insane right there, where the Cavs had to close that, had to steal that one in Boston right there. And then you look at it right there too. I mean, going on from that point on, they would also like the next year lose to the Milwaukee Bucks in the second round, and it was pretty frustrating the way things were going. Forced his way out of Boston to get traded to the Brooklyn Nets. And you look at the Nets and KD in Brooklyn, they didn't finally get a chance to pair up together until the 2020-2021 season. I mean, the second year with COVID, unfortunately, entering our society, you look at it together right there. A lot of people would argue, I mean, right there, the Nets should have been NBA champions if Kevin Durant's toe was not on the 3-point line. I mean, it was instead of 2-pointer. But instead, the Milwaukee Bucks did find a way to take care of them in overtime. And for Giannis Antetokounmpo, who would go on to win his first and only championship with the Bucks uh, over the Phoenix Suns in 6 games in Milwaukee. Now you fast forward to year 2 with the Nets right there being paired up with Kevin Durant. They got swept by the Celtics in the first round. And definitely Kyrie Irving, who's definitely giving some middle finger issues to the taunting fans at Boston right there. There was rumors going into the off season in 2022 if he was going to be able to willing to pick up his player option, which he did, by the way, but he did get suspended for his religious views right there. I'm not going to get into, but pretty much everyone remembers that. Uh, but in 2023, like right around the trade deadline period, he was sent over to the Mavericks right there, where they missed the playoffs together their first year with Luka Doncic. But now they come back as a fifth seed in the West, sixth seed overall in the league, and here they are right now. I mean, look at this trio right now, who's definitely becoming a real good dynamic duel right now. It's going to take a lot to win this series for the Mavericks, but we'll find out. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into some of the key matchups in this series when you really look at it right now. I mean, for this NBA Finals right now, you look at some of the things right now going into this here. I mean, for most part, I mean, one of the interesting things that stand out right now, you got the Boston Celtics, who ranks in the top 10 as far as point defense right now, which is very good as far as points allowed. But then you look at fast break points right now on this matchup. Dallas, who comes into this matchup right now, ranked eighth with 1,293 points, averaging about 15 point per game on fast break points. Celtics are 10th in that regard, doing real good, 1252, 15.3. Definitely, when you look at the Celtics team, you see a lot more of a physical team that's willing to attack inside, ain't afraid to hit the long range threes whenever they can. But I mean, this is more dominating team right now, and many people are wondering if this version of the Celtics team could top Paul Pierce's team with him, Kevin Garnett, Rajon Rondo, and of course Ray Allen right there, or more. They went to two finals appearances, having split going 1-1 each against the Lakers right there. And I gotta be honest with you, I mean, for right now, if I were to take a team between that Celtics version, I'm going with Pierce's Celtics, a little over the edge right there. I mean, you still want a lot of chemistry and a lot of physicality, but I mean, at the same time, their star power together, proving how much they could get done, and definitely been a huge reason for them to continue their tradition right there. Basically, Celtic pride. Now, you also look at too right now. I think for the Mavericks to try and find a way to steal this series away, they're going to have to just be very patient. I think they're going to have to find a way to take leads early in this contest. But I tell you what, right now, if you can get Luka and Kyrie heated up, I mean, it should be a good series for the Mavericks right now. Mavericks, who are just definitely playing on a mission right now, trying to get their second NBA championship together. And you look at everything right now. I mean, with this Mavericks team, and potentially a gifted team in their own right now. And you look at some of the other players who could be contributors on this team right now, as we mentioned. Going into it. But anyway, uh, the Dallas Mavericks team that looks like they're ready for this point. I mean, you also don't forget about Tim Hardaway Jr. right now, who definitely ain't afraid to hit the three ball right now. But I mean, look at other guys right here who could make some impact here on this team. And it's definitely be real interesting. Meanwhile, as the Boston Celtics right now, who they're tandem right now, look at everything they got going. I mean, of course, about Jason Tatum, Jalen Brown, pretty much doing solid together. 26.9 points per game for Tatum, and Jalen Brown, 23 points a game right now. And Porzingis definitely be a big key right there. You also got Drew Holiday right now, who could definitely be a contributor here. 12.5 points. I want to say Drew Holiday, if I'm not mistaken. He was an NBA champion, yes, with the Milwaukee Bucks as their point guard. Real nice position right there. But anyway, these would be some real matches right there, and how they're going to be able to get this going for right now. But anyway, I think Joe Mazzulla definitely wants to prove to the Celtics organization as well as the fan base, especially in the media, that he is a legit coach. He could keep this thing going. They could cash in, get that first ever ring for this series. So I'm gonna go my prediction. I'm gonna go Celtics in 6 games for this series. Now, speaking of NBA, let's transition to something a little different right now. NBA media rights deal right now. Now, it's pretty much really getting real interesting right now, more in particular with the future of Warner right now. When you look at Warner Brothers Discovery, especially NBA on TNT, while the NBA has not officially announced its new media rights deal with ESPN, NBC, who's looking to get back into the game after missing 22 seasons right now. I mean, their last appearance was back in 2002, the NBA Finals right there, which was capped off by the Lakers versus Nets. And for the Wall Street Journal, NBC's $2.5 billion package will include roughly 100 games each season, half of which will be Peacock exclusive games, while the remaining contests will air on NBC in primetime on Tuesday and Sunday during the NFL offseason right now. As you heard Charles Barkley say many times, the morale is very low at this point, and just not sure how they're going to keep things together right now. But I mean, you look at like Prime Video right now, as long as ESPN and ABC expected to keep their deals together going on. ESPN, ABC, Disney is going to still be the ultimate mothership of the coverage of this league. I tell you what, right now, I'll be definitely very sad for NBA and TNT, who's been broadcasting games since 1988. Right now, I mean, 36 seasons. I mean, you think about what they've been doing. I mean, just the chemistry, the joking, just being themselves, the personalities with Ernie Johnson, Charles Barkley, of course, Shaquille O'Neal and Kenny the Jet Smith right now. Definitely going to be very naked. Excuse me, for Turner to be without the NBA coverage is very inconceivable right now. I will say that. But I hope if there's, I mean, right now it's on life support. And you know what? I'm not one of those fans. I'm going to just say this. I'll, like among many, be heartbroken if if they do not stay on, which it looks like it's pretty much shaping that way. But NBC's also waited a long damn time. And just many will question too inside the NBA who Adam Silver wants badly for them to keep that going. I mean, Shaq feels pretty optimistic that there will be some other openings as well. But I mean, Charles Barkley's even stated though too, he's got a production company that could like help keep that program going. The only question is with Ernie Johnson, who's been pretty much a lifer at Warner Brother right now. It's either he is expected to stay on with Turner, or he's going to retire. And I don't know. I mean, it's really doubtful at this point. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, but I mean, if it ends that way with them having NCAA football coverage, plus they've been getting their hockey too on there for like the last 5 seasons right now. I mean, it's just definitely very shocking how much they frown their nose upon and trying to up the over $2 billion bid that NBC and Peacock altogether has been offering as a whole to outbid Warner. I will just say this. It's time for NBC. I don't want to see NBA and TNT go away, but I mean, if it's got to come back for so long, I think NBC does it. It's been well deserved. And that's going to do it for this edition here of Show Blitz here with yours truly, Charles Project Richie. You can follow me on social media. You can follow me on Twitter X at MassSteelCGR and check me out on Instagram at MassSteelNation. Any other sports coverage outside the Steelers and the NFL, I will continue to put on my Mass Steel Podcast YouTube channel. Let's enjoy the series. Like I said, I got the Celtics winning this series in 6 games. Right now, I think it's their time. I think it is their destiny. We'll see after that. As always, Ivy, don't be trolling, be rolling. Thank you for watching the Mass Steel Podcast with your host, Charles Project Richie, here on YouTube. Please make sure to hit that subscribe button. And for all the latest Mass Steel Podcast episodes, feel free to download them on Mixcloud, Anchor.fm, and SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts.
What time is it? Game time!